All right, let's have a look at the FrankenHarley, which is gradually coming together. The back tire and rim are off, as you can see, and I've got them over at my good buddy Tim's shop waiting for the new tire to replace the dry rotted and plugged tire that was on there previously. We got all the nice new push cables on there, push-pull cables properly routed. Everything's nice and functional now, the way it should be. Did a little bit of polishing work up here on the chrome. The brakes have all been rebuilt. The master cylinder has been rebuilt. I have the calipers dangling here just because I'm getting ready to pull this front wheel off the bike and get the tire mounted on that. And then we'll get the calipers back on and everything will be ship-shape and right as the mail. Got new Harley-Davidson plugs in there. There's a nice new rear caliper, all good and set to go. Poor swing arm was once chromed. I polished it the best I could, but unfortunately it's got some stains on it and some pits, probably from the battery dripping. I still haven't sorted out all the wiring issues on this bike. As I noted in one of my previous videos, the harness has been chopped to death. So rather than try and sort it out, I'll probably just go ahead and replace it, but in the meanwhile I wanted to get the bike functional. So I just rigged up a little push button starter here that's connected to the solenoid there, and I also put a cutoff switch here. Now this looks Frankenstein, and that's why it's FrankenHarley, and the reason for that is unless you disconnect the battery, no matter where you leave the ignition switch, right now it's an off, the battery still drains. So you could manually disconnect the battery, I suppose. Problem is that with these 40s, seat's bolted on, so that would mean having to unbolt this, remove the seat, do all that anytime I wanted to start the bike, and I figured that's too much of a hassle, so I decided to just use this old race car starter on-off thing that I had lying around to get that taken care of. Miraculously, I was able to save this master cylinder too. That's been rebuilt after extensive cleaning. Nice new boot here too. The boot was gone, so moisture had gotten here into the piston. But the real problem was that somebody along the line had mixed brake fluid, had mixed the .3 with the .5, and an interesting chemical reaction ensued. What I found inside the master cylinder was basically kind of this gelatinous gooey stuff, and there's another video accompanying this that will show you that. Pretty messy and pretty awful. Also in the previous video I showed you the carburetor rebuilding. The carburetor now is obviously reinstalled. The only thing I haven't done yet is to put a new choke cable on it. So I've got this manual thing right here. It's actually, it's actually fairly convenient because when you're sitting on the bike, there you can go. You can just manually open it and close it if you want to. And I'm thinking it might be even better than just having yet another cable on this thing. But the thing that I wanted to tell you, this bike had been sitting for several years, and the ethanol gas, the ethanol laced gas, the alcohol in the gas, had really done a number on the carburetor. The pilot and the main jet were both completely clogged up. The needle and seat were clogged up. There was all this goop inside the carburetor. So I took it apart, let it sit in parts cleaner for about a week, and then very carefully cleaned everything out. It's really important if you haven't got good eyes and aren't 100% sure about that pilot jet to just go ahead and replace it, because if you haven't got a clean pilot jet, your bike's never going to start right, it's never going to run right, you're going to have problems with it. Holy cannoli, I just noticed something else. Hadn't ever noticed this before. FrankenHarley has a dented pipe here. These are drag pipes somebody installed along the way, and they clearly don't fit the bike, because in order to clear the down tube here, somebody took a ball peen hammer, look at that, and bashed the pipe. Lovely. Isn't that wonderful? Speaking of which, this is another FrankenHarley thing that I found out before. On the other pipe here, it was actually rubbing up, literally contacting the brake line for the rear caliper, and of course that will cook the fluid right quick. So I bent the pipe a little bit and put about an inch or two, inch and a half of clearance there, so that's better. What I'd like to do is get some insulating wrap, put it around there. Ideally, if this were my bike and not Franken bike. I would replace these pipes. I would replace all kinds of things on this bike, but we're just trying to get it operational. See over here. Another thing I did, of course, was to clean and grease the chain. I really like this stuff, by the way. I'm not hawking a product because they're paying me, but I really like this this chain lube. It's aerosol and it's clean and it sticks to the chain. Keeps the water off. It lasts a long time. I usually only have to do my chains about once a year with this. This rear rotor is probably junk. I cleaned it. I used some acid on it, naval jelly, to get rid of all the rust that was on it. The rear caliper was completely seized when I got the bike. Need to put a dial indicator on it, but I think it's shot. I can feel the scoring with my fingers. So I'm going to talk to the guy who owns the bike and see if he wants me to replace that with a new one. There's the axle, spacers, here's the other half of the caliper. But anyway, FrankenHarley is coming along. It doesn't look half bad now, does it? Little detail things that I like to do to bikes that really class up the joint, so to speak. You can see these chewed up little bolts here. I've already got the ones out here on that. I'm going to root around at the hardware store, or maybe even go to the Harley store and see what they've got. And replacing these little bolts, just little stuff like that, can really, really make your bike look a lot better, and for not a lot of money. In particular, if you find a stainless, like a hex bolt or something, which you can usually pick up at Lowe's or Home Depot for not much, or a lot less than the chrome stuff that they sell at the Harley store. Unfortunately, these case covers, they're pretty pitted. I started to polish them up a little bit, and I'm going to probably polish them up some more. But you can't really do that much once they start to get pitted like that. So that'll only look so good. But, you know, we're coming along. We're getting there. Bit by bit, piece by piece. I'm hoping that the bike is going to be operational once my buddy Tim gets me my tires within a couple of days. And once it's all put back together, we'll fire it up, we'll take it for a ride, and we'll give you an after-action report. So thanks for watching, and we will catch up with you next time.